Hello, this is Bart Sharp with the story of our core limiting story. Our core limiting story is our most repressed emotional patterns. And it comes in a story, something that occurred to us, something that was most likely our first big challenge in life that overwhelmed us, that we could not resolve. And some people's core limiting story appears, very early in life, before 2 years old. That's probably a smaller percentage in my experience. Most people it's between 2 and 5. And it can be a variety of things, and it's usually something very simple. It doesn't have to be highly complex. And people's core limiting story is something that seems to confront them internally, unconsciously, and emotionally, most likely every day of their life, sometimes every hour, even more often than that, because it's the story that seems to create a division or a block in ourselves, and then we start creating our challenges from that. And it's often in the severity of the core limiting story. For example, maybe you grew up in a family where you were not welcome. I just worked with somebody recently that their parents divorced soon after her birth. The father wanted her to be a son because she was the third of 3 girls. And the mother had a lot of pressure there because she knew if the father continued to be unhappy, he would leave her. So she represented this part that you are the wrong person to be in this family. You do not belong. And that was a lot about her core limiting story, as you do not belong, and you did not turn out to be the wrong gender. And it can be that simple. People being rejected, and then they start to formulate that. And for this young lady, this core limiting story started about 1 year old. And it's always something that really just happens with that. Another person who's had a father who was highly abusive, and he was the oldest son and the prize son, but yet he could not consistently make his father happy. And so his core limiting story was, I can't make the people I love happy. And this would create an unconscious sabotaging effect that he would do things that make people he loved unhappy. He created his own traumas to substantiate what he had learned and practiced with his father. And this would perpetuate again and again and again. Now, the thing about the core limiting story is we can find it, if we know ourselves and know our stories, they're pretty easy to find. And if you use your intuition or muscle testing, you can ask your body or something inside of you, wow, is this my core limiting story? It's that easy. And usually it has a pairing of a core limiting emotion. In other words, there's 3 basic limiting emotions that it generally is associated with. One emotion more than other emotions, though it can have all 3 emotions. So these 3 core emotions are shame, sadness, or fear. And so we usually create our core limiting emotion with one of these 3 core limiting emotions: shame, sadness, or fear. And of course, other emotions may come in as more of a secondary emotion, such as anger or trying to win people's approval. In other words, a loving type of emotion, or even guilt. So they seem to have one primary one and then secondary emotions after that. But when we start to learn our core limiting emotion and start to clear it and move it out, then we're not so stuck in these repetitive patterns that we're doing the same things over and over. Like, I need lots of approval. I must control my environment to be safe. I must dominate others. These are a few of them, but we can usually, pin it back to the age it happened, who was it related to, like mother or father, and, what is that story? Then we can really get some freedom about it and have a much more harmonious life. Not so negative emotion driven. So, you can let go of your core limiting stories. It's just a matter of some work. And that's the type of work I do as a shamanistic healer. So if you're curious, check me out. My name is Bart Sharp at bartsharp.com, and I love to hear from you. We'll see you later. Bye-bye.